All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game taking place here on Concealed Hill between HawK and Dise. Dise spawning under the name Siberia on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, HawK on the bottom left as the blue human. Should be a great game. However you're watching me, thank you. Enjoying a little bit of WarCraft 3 casting during my lunch break. So if you guys wonder how I'm able to what I do, how I'm able to set aside time. I eat while I work, and then I cast a game during my lunch break. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It could also explain why, if you ever met me, some people are like, you need to eat a sandwich. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down here. Mountain King going to be coming out from HawK. Meanwhile, it is a Demon Hunter coming out. Oh, let's go ahead and slow things down once more. As I said, my lunch break sometimes not long enough to get through a full game, and I need to cast a little bit as, well, it takes time to set up the computer and upload and do all of those things. Mountain King gonna be on the move here. Mountain King up against a Demon Hunter. I am expecting a Blood Mage second. Always very important to get that Blood Mage second, as that Mountain King otherwise would most likely never have the opportunity to get off those all-important Storm Bolts. You can see that the Sea Turtles are trying to poke down these units here, but that piercing damage, remember, has been changed dramatically. 10% less damage against the Footmen on top of, well, the Footmen eventually perhaps getting defend. Mountain King picks up a Cloak of Shadows and is now moving his way off to the north here. We could see a Storm Bolt. Are we going to see a Storm Bolt? No. Wisp up. You can see HawK purposely trying to bait the detonation on that Wisp, but that Wisp does in fact back away a couple of times, as we now see the Mountain King heading down to the south here. I do not see defend on these Footmen, so they are going to be fighting the old-fashioned way, taking a little bit of poison damage there. I think was the detonation. Nicely done by Dise there, as we're looking at archers now making their way through. Militia now getting called over, so a second round of Militia, and now a Stormbolt onto the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter Mana Burn turns on Immolation. The low hit point Peasants and Footmen trying to back away. That Demon Hunter suffering quite a bit of damage. Now down to 51. Now, wow. Almost got a lucky bash to finish things off. Archer ends up getting taken down. Militia looking to finish off this Null Overseer here. There are a bunch of Peasants. Mountain King gets up to level 3. And a handful of Peasants perhaps will be left behind to try and build up an expansion. All right, Scout Farm right there. There's a little Wisp keeping track of everything. Footmen going to be heading over to the Fountains of Health, perhaps to try and regenerate some hit points. The Footmen have to be very careful, though. Demon Hunter archers, they're going to hang out at this Fountain of Health. So both sides resting at a Fountain of Health, trying to keep away. And, well, the Mountain King and a couple of these Footmen will be fine. Meanwhile, off to the north here, Ancient of War is going to get scouted out. Meanwhile, our Demon Hunter, he's going to find... Oh, he's going to find these Footmen. He's going to find these Footmen. Archer is going to go ahead and aggro the creeps right there. Archer is going to shadow meld. One Footman going to get taken down. Another Footman perhaps going to get taken down at the hands of the creeps, though. So no experience for the Demon Hunter, but still 2 down and lost. Naga Sea Witch as the second follow-up hero by Dise. Demon Hunter, Naga Sea Witch need to really put down that pressure, as they are, well, at tier 2. We should be going into Ancients of Lore. There's one already. Is there a second one getting placed down? I do not see it yet. Nope. Only one Ancient of Lore currently operational, as the Mountain King looks for places to try and gain experience. 35 supply compared to 27. HawK does have a good number of workers, also has an Arcane Tower here. I'm expecting an Arcane Vault and a Blacksmith to be placed down as we start that tech to tier 2. HawK needs a fair amount of lumber. You can see all of these workers working across here as the Mountain King gets a Stormbolt off onto an Archer. Naga Sea Witch coming in with the cold arrows. Is the Archer going to get taken down? Oh, my goodness. Well, natural regeneration for the win right there. Archer staying alive at 1 hit point with that nighttime regeneration. Talk about the small changes with a big impact there, as that Archer would have been taken down. And, well, given more experience. Are we going to see a Stormbolt, Demon Hunter trying to perhaps get a mana burn? And there is the mana burn there. Mountain King does not get the mana burn down in time. There's the Cloak of Shadows on that Mountain King. Just stands still right now as the Demon Hunter and Naga Sea Witch clear out the Rock Golem creep camp at the 3 o'clock spot. There's one Ancient of Lore, a second Ancient of Lore coming online here. Mountain King is once more shadow melded. Demon Hunter with Immolation and Cold Arrows from the Naga Sea Witch, able to pick off one of those footmen already. Another footman about to get taken down. Demon Hunter trying to get into chase here. Does not have Boots of Speed, but may not necessarily need it. There's a mana burn for 1 as the Mountain King trying to get in front. Are we going to see a Bash Invul Potion used in time? And, well, that's still a bit of a win right there, forcing your opponent to get use an Invul Potion as the Mountain King perhaps still fighting and engaging here. There's another lucky bash onto that Archer. Yuna's trying to retreat back. Footman taking a beating from that Ancient of War as the Naga Sea Witch will back up, perhaps regenerate some hit points, and then make her way back down to the south. There's that Blacksmith. There's that Arcane Vault. A couple more towers as well. We should be looking at a Scroll of Regeneration. There's another bash once again, as now the Dryads with their slow poison going to cause some problems. Mountain King does have Boots of Speed, and that, well, Demon Hunter is keeping that Mountain King's mana in check constantly. All right. Upgrading to guard towers now. One guard tower nearly ready. Naga Sea Witch may try and, well, get some Fork Lightning damage. We see piercing damage here, and that is important to note. Piercing damage up against the Scout Tower, but the Scout Tower has enough, enough repairs to keep it alive and well, at least for now. Cloak of Shadows being used very aggressively to try and, well, stave off any of that, any of those mana burns. But the guard towers are not gonna, another one is not gonna be up in time, as these two Ancient Protectors are gonna be too far back. Militia now getting called over. Riflemen perhaps gonna try and engage. Riflemen do not have the upgraded range yet. I don't believe we're at tier 2, as the Mountain King is currently shadow melted. Are we going to perhaps get a Stormbolt off onto the Mountain or onto the Demon Hunter here, trying to go after some of these targets? There's a Stormbolt onto the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter does have Immolation, and this could be a problem. There's a mana burn onto the Mountain King. Mountain King trying to fight his way back. Level 3 now on the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, is it level 2 Immolation? Yes, it is, and that is quite a bit more damage, and a double Fork Lightning followed by Staff of Preservation. Well, takes down 2 footmen and saves the Demon Hunter. Nice micro there, as we now see the Ancient of Wonders has walked its way over. Nature's Blessing by Dise, allowing the Ancient Protectors, well, a little bit of additional armor, and the Ancient of Wars are now perhaps going to try and back up, eat a couple of trees, and regenerate those hit points. Tech to tier 2 is now done. Archmage as the second hero, not Blood Mage as I originally expected. And, well, these guys are just going to be pushing very heavily. We can see a Workshop desperately trying to be built right now, as the Ancient Protector are going to start pummeling this building here. That Ancient Protector actually attacking fairly quickly with that 45 to 54 damage, as the Mortar team now gets trained up here. Footmen do not have Defend. Mountain King does have a mana potion, but with the army of Dryads here, the only real targets are the Demon Hunter, who does have mana burn, and this Naga Sea Witch, who does have range. There's a Stormbolt onto the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter suffering a little bit of damage, and, well, as the Mountain King purposely once again hides. This has been his go-to strategy. Are we going to see another Stormbolt? We do. Staff of Preservation for the save again, as we're looking at the Mountain King perhaps trying to go after those Dryads, but the Dryads still outranging the Riflemen. Right, that range, the real big issue there. The Dryads are faster and can throw farther than the Riflemen can shoot right now. Meanwhile, we should be looking at some Scrolls of Healing to, well, continue this pressure and push. The Workshop Mortar team able to take down that Ancient... Oh, no, the Ancient Protectors just moved and said, you know what, if you're going to be building in one spot, let me just move to a different spot instead. Naga Sea Witch going to be coming around from the far side here. Are we going to be looking at some damage? Ancient Protectors, perhaps they're going to try and eat some trees, and now that they have fortified armor, there's some Abolish Magic already. We see some guard towers. Ancient of Wonders joining in on the battle. That's going to be a dead, well, Rifleman there, as we see level 3 now on that Naga Sea Witch. One guard tower upgrade already taken down. We're looking at these two fighting against each other. Remember, Ancient Protector's fortified armor going up against heavy armor, a big difference there overall. Meanwhile, Demon Hunter is going to try to mana burn any further. There's another Staff of Preservation back off to the north, but these moon walls are now all bone dry as we are teching to tier 3. No moon wellspring upgrade yet, as the Ancient of War now ready to, well, trek on in and get in some damage. Ancient of War going to go ahead and take down the guard tower here. There is no mortar, or there's no workshop here to try and stop this onslaught. Only one arcane tower, but that arcane tower doing a pittance of damage against this Ancient of War that has, well, massive damage reduction. 30% damage reduction on top of the 10% damage reduction piercing against this Ancient of War's heavy armor. Meanwhile, coming back around the other side here, here's where the battle is at. Mortar teams able to lob a bunch of attacks against those Dryads. Those Dryads, if they splatter down too much, will feed even more experience, as the Mountain King's Cloak of Shadows use has been, well, top-notch. The Demon Hunter has not been able to mana burn nearly as much. The big difference right now is that the Archmage does not have Brilliance Aura. If it did, perhaps that Mountain King could surprise and Stormbolt much more efficiently. All right, Staff of Preservation for the save again. Mountain King didn't have mana. Gonna go ahead and use that Cloak of Shadows and, well, stay alive at least for now. All right, gonna see a Scroll of Regeneration, Clarity Potion, Scroll of Town Portal now picked up by that Mountain King. Mountain King gonna try and teleport back over here to the main base and try and save, bringing in 2 mortar teams to, well, clear out these Ancients. We do not see the, we do not have Masonry upgrades, as the Rifleman finally with 600 range. There's a Stormbolt down onto the Demon Hunter, but that is not going to be enough to finish him off, as he seems to be okay for now. Are we going to see another mana burn? We do. There's a mana burn there. Mountain King looking to perhaps use that Shadow Meld again. More mortar teams launching attacks there. Druids of the Claw simply just walking by, and that would have been key if you're able to get a stun onto a Druid of the Claw while he's still in Druid form. Mana burn in time to stop and stall that Mountain King again. Wow. Archmage of HawK still sitting at level 1. That means less mana for this Mountain King, which means, well, not being able to really place down the pressure. And once more, Dise rotating and changing position into a place where he can, well, root these Ancient Protectors. These Ancient Protectors with that very good range. Wow, the guard tower and here now finally in range, now going to be moving into position. Fortified armor, trying to poke apart this Ancient Protector, Ancient of Wonders in the back. All right, so constantly moving these Ancient Protectors and those and that Ancient of Wonders back and forth to open up positions. Demon Hunter trying to find and go straight after those Riflemen and perhaps those mortar teams, as the Demon Hunter has level 2 Immolation and is getting surrounded by a lot of targets. Demon Hunter currently in a little bit of trouble. There's level 4 now on the Demon Hunter. Level 2 mana burn is available. We're going to see a rejuvenation as the Druid of the Claw, well, going to get, nope, taken back home with the Staff of Preservation. Demon Hunter does not have a Staff of Preservation. There goes one more Rifleman again. Mountain King still in the battle here. Seems to be okay. A Scroll of Healing was used there. Both sides fighting, lobbing attacks against those Dryads. Those Dryads are all relatively low on hit points, as we're trying to see more, more of damage go down here. Naga Sea Witch in trouble. Naga Sea Witch gets taken down at level 3. Demon Hunter now fighting by his lonesome self, needs to retreat. Mountain King hoping for a lucky bash, gets a Stormbolt instead. Naga Sea Witch now back out onto the battlefield. Are we going to see a Staff of Preservation? Yes, we are. So the Naga Sea Witch falls at level 3, gets resurrected, and then saves the level 4 Demon Hunter overall. And now, well, Naga Sea Witch trying to come back in with rejuvenation. More damage coming back through. Dry gets taken down easily. Mountain King now sitting at level 4. Archmage finally at level 2, gonna give that Mountain King plenty of mana. That level 1 Brilliance Aura gonna help out that Mountain King tremendously, as the Mountain King, well, did sell that Cloak of Shadows now, unable to hide and then, well, launch Stormbolts. All right, HawK Remember, this is where the workshop was. He was able to defend against those ancient protectors. Couple of the guard towers were taken down as the Ancient of War now on the slow trek here. All right, Arcane Tower coupled with Guard Tower coupled with Mortar Team. This Ancient of War doesn't even want to bother to try and root, as it would just end up getting, well, taking more damage again. Dise retreating back here. Mountain King coming back across. We're looking at the Ancient of War about to fall. That's going to get taken out. There it goes pretty easily. Meanwhile, Demon Hunter clearing out the center, the hill on Concealed Hill, so to speak, getting that Helm of Valor, strength and agility, exactly what the Demon Hunter needs. More hit points, more damage, more armor. As the Mountain King, Mortar Teams, and HawK's economic advantage allows him to rebound quickly. What is Dise going to do here? Dise is starting to lose that tech advantage that he had. We can see the dual Arcane Sanctums are cranking out units, and now we're looking at the Mountain King and perhaps the Archmage. They're going to be able to catch up in terms of the hero levels. For the longest time, it was level 3, level 1 going up against a level 4, level 3. But, well, taking this opportunity to clear out these creep camps, giving level 2 to the Archmage, that Brilliance Aura, really topping off mana on that Mountain King now, as we are, well, looking to see how this game will unfold. All right, Fountain of Health. This is going to get cleared out pretty easily. There goes an Ogre Magi. There's a Staff of Preservation. Demon Hunter sent back home once again. And now, well, with plus 18 damage and an Orb of Venom, could really, well, do large amounts of damage in that frontline spot while still and being able to tank a lot of that damage, nearly 1,000 hit points, even though he is only at level 4. Ogre Magi giving, nope, not going to give level 5 to the Demon Hunter. Needs just a bit more experience. Demon Hunter will get to level 5 here. Meanwhile, we see the Red Drake getting cleared out as the Archmage goes for level 3 and goes for level 2 Brilliance Aura for more, well, we're going to see a Mana Burn. Oh, Mana Burn, no. Instead, Stormbolt, yes. We're looking, wait, are we going to see Mana Burns? How come we haven't seen enough of them? Mana Burn onto a different target than I would have expected, as the Spellbreakers trying to find some ways. All right, there's another Mana Burn again. Mountain King finally out of mana as the Naga Sea Witch, Staff of Preservations to save that Demon Hunter. All right, so, well, have the Demon Hunter... Well, are we going to see Priestess of the Moon? Priestess of the Moon does not have an Orb of Venom. That is incredibly important to note here. No Orb of Venom, so no bonus damage. We're not going to see stacked Orbs of Venom. Naga Sea Witch does have an Orb of Venom. Perhaps should give it to the Priestess of the Moon so that there's still range damage there and can toggle those cold arrows effectively. All right, back and forth we're going here. Orb of Venom damage across all of these frontline units. More Mana Burn shutting down enemy heroes. And now perhaps going to start to go after some of those casters as well. Demon Hunter still fighting his way as the Mountain King forced to use the Scroll of Town Portal and back off. Druid of the Claw going to visit the Fountain of Health off over here. Dryads going to heal up as well. Priestess of the Moon and the Naga Sea Witch still can gain experience from creep camps as the Demon Hunter joins in, taking a third of the experience away from those two friendly heroes. All right, nope, Staff of Preservation going to send the Demon Hunter home instead, allowing the Priestess of the Moon and the Naga Sea Witch to continue to gain more experience again. Now, Tree of Eternity, well, is going to be picking itself up and making a march to stage left here if he wants to continue to mine. Meanwhile, well, more damage, level 2 on the Priestess of the Moon. Are we going to go for... Nope, we are going to go for HawK now. Doesn't want to go for Searing Arrows. As the Priestess of the Moon looking to back away. Demon Hunter, I think he's at 1,025 or 1,075 hit points now. So very, very tanky frontline hero. Add in the fact that, well, Staff of Preservation can send him back home, followed by a quick Staff of Teleportation to get back in. That Demon Hunter is going to have a difficult time getting shut down. We are also looking at that triple Orb of Venom and dual Staff of Preservations. The Priestess of the Moon, also with her own staff, going to be able to save some other friendly targets. Dise, well, going to pick up that Tree of Eternity, now moving on over. This gold mine still has 1.5 minutes mining left. This gold mine has about 5 minutes left as we are looking into fragmentation shards because we are finally at castle. Third and final hero, Paladin, now out here on the battlefield. And we're going to go ahead and engage here in just a second. All right, there's a Stormbolt onto the Spellbreaker. Demon Hunter just wanted to mana burn something. What is he going to mana burn? There's a Fork Lightning going across. There's a mana burn onto the Paladin, as the Paladin now looking to back away. The Mortar Team, those Fragmentation Shards really opening up the damage onto all of those Dryads as we're looking at that splatting damage go. All right, another Stormbolt goes down onto the Demon Hunter. How many Mortar Teams are here? Only 2 Mortar Teams, but you can see how effective that damage is against those Dryads. They're trying to retreat back again. There's another mana burn once more, and the Demon Hunter needs a rejuvenation or needs a heal, gets sent back home quickly. Tree of Eternity, well, off to the north, gonna go ahead and entangle this gold mine. Demon Hunter no longer gonna be able to recharge at these Moonwells with a Staff of Preservation, since the Tree of Eternity did walk over here to entangle this gold mine. Meanwhile, Dryad's gonna try and heal up. 77 supply compared to 75. 2 bases versus 1, at least for a little while longer. 3 heroes versus 3, as Dise still has the hero level advantage. All right, throw a HawK into the air. Perhaps try and take the center gold mine. There is still 1 Goblin Laboratory, but only the High Priest and the Troll Trapper are left. Red army of Dise ready to charge in onto HawK's base. Both sides, it is going to be a battle of positioning. If the Mortar Teams go unchallenged, that is going to be a very difficult amount of damage to try and shake off easily. Those Dryads so vulnerable to those fragmentation shards, that or that siege damage against these units now. And add in, we have Inner Fire onto those Mortar Teams. Those Mortar Teams dealing a lot more damage as we see another mana burn go down. Dryads, Stormbolt onto the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter perhaps going to try and mana burn. Yes, does get a mana burn onto the Paladin. Are we going to see a Staff of Preservation? We might, or we should. There's another slow. There's another Stormbolt again. Finally, a Staff of Preservation used there as the Naga Sea Witch tries to retreat back. Are we going to see another Stormbolt go down? Mountain King just chasing after these targets as the Demon Hunter finally regroups at these Moonwells and going to try and engage again. There's a Stormbolt on to that Mountain Giant. There are Sundering Blades dealing bonus damage from the Knights onto those Mountain Giants. The Mountain Giants do have medium armor, and we are about to fight here. All right, both sides fighting back and forth. Dryads trying to, well, land attacks. Meanwhile, the Mortar Teams, the Quad Mortar Teams, just making those units go splat and taking them down so quickly. Dryads gonna go splat again. 71 supply compared to 77. It's just raining death and destruction from the backfield here as both sides are fighting. 72 supply compared to 68. It really is going to come down to whether or not those Mortar Teams are going to be able to continue to engage and how much damage these Mountain Giants can absorb. All right. Knight gets taken down. 63 supply compared to 65. Another Mountain Giant could get taken down here. Dise could be in trouble losing another Mountain Giant as the Paladin, or the Mountain King could gain enough experience to level up. Devotion Aura, level 3 Stormbolt. Those are all very, very scary. There's another Fork Lightning right there. Level 3 Naga, or level 3 Fork Lightning coupled with the Priestess of the Moon's eventual level 2 two-shot aura. We are now battling here. Mortar Teams are going to make quick work of these buildings, so it's going to kind of force a fight as the Dryads get taken down. All this unarmored damage, the splatting of those units there. We're going to see another ground, all of those just taken down. HawK down to 66 supply compared to 54. Mountain King now sitting at level 5. Are we going to see a mana burn? Mountain King could get a big mana burn or Stormbolt off. No mana burn in time, as the Demon Hunter is still trying to go after those units. Paladin falls at level 1. Priestess of the Moon gets up to level 3. 5-5-3, going up against a 5-3 right now as the Paladin was out of commission. All right, 56 supply compared to 66. They're trying to fight back the other way. Fork Lightning starting to take its toll. Scroll of Healing trying to push back here. And we're looking at just more splatting damage. 61 compared to 56. Naga Sea Witch continuing to go after other targets. There's a Staff of Preservation save there, as a couple of Druids of the Claw may get taken down. There goes one, and another one could get taken down as the mortar teams are just, well, putting pressure, taking down buildings quickly. All right. Demon Hunter going to go ahead and drink a whole bunch of Moonwell juice, make its way back down. We see some long distance mining as the Paladin now walking its way back out onto the battlefield here. Naga, or Priestess of the Moon, going to go ahead and heal back up again, as we are now looking at some big damage. Fork Lightning coming back across. Staff of Preservation. Remember, those units were being brought over to the Tree of Eternity, and they are not been able to fight back. Archmage, well, tactical retreat. Mountain King, however, falls at level 5 while the Archmage was invulnerable. Mountain King falling at level 5 there. Well, Dise sitting at a 46 supply army, but Mountain Giants and a bunch of these units are just so low on hit points. They really need to be healing up at the Fountain of Health and be given time to do so. Priestess of the Moon, level 2 True Shot Aura. Are we going to see some damage? There goes one peasant, another peasant. Demon Hunter perhaps going to try and get to level 6 here. Just needs a little bit more experience. And then we will see Superman with that chaos damage, as these peasants going to be coming around the other side to do long distance mining as well. All right. More long distance mining. Naga Sea Witch. What's going to happen? Stormbolt, Staff of Preservation. However, well, these peasants are going to be able to pick up those bags of gold and head back down to the south here. Dise currently having the economic advantage, mining at 600 gold a minute. This long distance mining highly inefficient right now. 52 supply compared to 48. It is still anyone's game at this point. How many mortar teams are left? 2 mortar teams, 2-0 upgrades. Paladin sitting at level 1. Desperately wants to get to level 2. We see some heals here. Knights with animal war training healing up very quickly at the Fountain of Health as we are getting ready to push. All right, more long distance mining happening again. Demon Hunter is invisible. Perhaps going to start the battle with a mana burn onto that Mountain King, remove Stormbolt from play, and then go after all the other targets here. Perhaps now trying to go after some of these mortar teams. Mortar team down, mortar team down. Fork Lightning really focusing down those glass cannons as the Demon Hunter continuing to engage here. Demon Hunter needing a little bit more experience to get to level 6. Does have an invul potion. Level 6, however, on the Naga Sea Witch first. And that is going to be the game. Paladin, I think, got to level 2. But Dise with the victory. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.